Hello and welcome to Cretaceous Cantina, where today we're having a look at the Mattel Jurassic World Dino Rivals Dual Attack Concavenator. So this is the second version of the Concavenator that Mattel has released. We previously looked at the original and we will do a comparison with it later in this video. But this is basically the same thing, except you get a brand new color palette that is wildly different from the original release. At the upper levels of the packaging, you can see the dual attack features are called out so that you can try it before you buy it. It does say that this is new, and this is also shipping in the wave alongside Allosaurus and Nasutoceratops. We've looked at both of those in our previous reviews here on the channel. At the back, you can see the glamour shot there of the Concavenator, looking a little bit different than the final product. You can see that it has Chomp, and it also has Tail Strike, where it is taking out that poor little Dracorex. And at the lower left, you can see the Allosaurus and the Nasutoceratops also round out this wave. Here is the bottom of the box for anybody that wants any of this information. Okay, so I'm going to take a moment, get this unboxed. When we come back, we'll take a closer look at the Concavenator. Alright, you guys, so here is the beast that we call the Concavenator out of the packaging. And as I noted, it's a very interesting looking one. Not just in terms of its sculpt and its overall physique and the radical wild paint scheme that they applied to it, but just its look as a dinosaur species. It looks really strange. One issue that I have with it, and it's the same thing that I had with the original Concavenator, is that you can see it kind of leans a little bit to its left. That just seems to be an issue of the way that it's sculpted and the way the legs are positioned. You can try and reposition the legs a little bit, but no matter what I do, I find that it still ends up leaning to its left. And again, the only thing different this time around is that we have a very different paint scheme than what we had before. And we will do a comparison at the appropriate time. Let's go ahead and take a close-up look at the head sculpt on the Concavenator. And we can see that it does have the same sculpt, so it does look a little bit on the cartoony side. Not very much like the Concavenator we see in Lockwood's Mansion in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. It's definitely a lot more of a caricaturized version. Is that a word? Caricaturized version of that. But I don't think it's all bad. I did like the original release for the most part. This time, we still have the same sculpt, so you do have some pretty decent detailing along the body. You see that here in its torso. You see it here in the legs, all these lines and all these little bumps. It does have a nice sculpt to it. Even the legs are pretty nicely done. You can see a lot more texture here towards the bottom and here in the arms as well. So, that looks good. And I also like how the skin kind of folds here along the neck. On the belly, you still have some detail there. It's these colors that are really out there. It definitely has a very 90s sort of feel to it. It kind of looks like, neon orange, bright purple, the sort of things that you see on, really kid-oriented plastic dinosaur toys. And depending on what your view on that is, you might love it. Me personally, I do not love it. I don't think it looks that great in these colors. They're just a little too out there for me. Now this hazelnut color is really not too bad. I do like this color, but when you layer it with this purple and then, this really bright orange, it ends up looking like a clown. It's almost like you took the Joker from Batman and turned him into a dinosaur. Maybe if this were white, that would be more appropriate, but you get the point. It is very cartoony, and it is it's very out there. I really wish I could hear about the behind the scenes at Mattel when they decide, what colors are going to do different dinosaurs and repaints and such, how they elect what to do. I know kids do enjoy colorful dinosaurs. I think that there is market research out there to support that, or so I've been told. But I'm not sure who else might really love it. Again, if that's your cup of tea and you like the colorful dinosaurs, you're probably going to like it. If you don't, you're probably not going to really like this at all. It's just really out there. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm happy for people who do enjoy it, but for me, I feel like they could have taken a different approach in this case. So let's talk articulation. The jaw joint is built into the action feature. We will test that out in just a little bit. You have insert molded joints here at both of the shoulders. So those go forward and back and they go out. Both of the legs, same as before. So they do kick outwards and you can rotate them back and forth. And seem to be pretty strong joints. And the tail is also built into the dual attack feature. So let's look at that. You do have one button right here. The second button is actually this large hump on its back that kind of looks like a backwards shark fin. So if you press the front one, the mouth opens and closes. If you press the back one, you get your tail strike. If you're doing the Jurassic Facts app, there is the scan code for you right there. Here's a comparison with the original dual attack Concavenator from earlier this year. And you can see that it is very, very different from the new version. Now, not even this was very film accurate to what we see in Fallen Kingdom. I think if they would have taken those colors and put them here, it would have looked a lot better. But, for the most part, I do like the coloration that they did for the original release. I cannot say the same for this one. I mean, this is just too wacky. But looking at them side by side, it's really hard for me to make the case that this is a couple. This is a pair, male, female, because that is just too radically different from this. It's a far cry from, what they did here. And again, some people might like that, and that's totally okay. Me, I definitely prefer this one. Here's the collector's card that comes with the Concavenator. You can see the artwork there. Looks like it's dancing almost. And of course, you have those wacky colors. It doesn't look quite as bad in the picture, though, as the actual toy. The colors look a little more subdued. And then here are the stats. So it's pretty well rounded. It is strong. It is pretty fast. Has fair intelligence. And its ferocity is pretty good. So, definitely one to keep an eye on if you are meandering through Jurassic World. Here is the Concavenator next to one of our Owen figures. And you can see it scales up pretty well with Owen. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Mattel Jurassic World Dino Rivals Dual Attack Concavenator. Overall, you guys, I'm not feeling this one. I don't really like it, and that's not so much due to the sculpt of the figure, which, in and of itself is already a little bit cartoony, but more so to the way that they approach the color palette. The first version, I would say, is superior to what they did here. I just can't get on board with these colors. I mean, I don't mind the hazelnut color that they went with. Just that really bright purple and the neon orange. It is pushing it, even for me. Perhaps if they would have gone with like a light tan, like instead of purple, like just replace this with a really light tan, and then maybe highlighted instead of this neon orange, something like a really deep blue, or even this purple if it was more muted and darker. It might not have looked so bad, but I mean, as it is, it's really hard for me to recommend this, especially if you already have the previous version in your collection. Alright, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. What do you think of this Concavenator? Will you be picking it up? Let me know your thoughts. Be sure to follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe to Collect Jurassic World through your favorite podcast provider. And as always, I would like to thank you for tuning in to Cretaceous Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.